Hello guys and welcome to this new video. Today I'm gonna show you this beautiful, and I'm underline beautiful, amplifier. This is the Blackstar ST James 100 version. Let's check out together why this is a beautiful amplifier. Hi guys, I'm Steex, 𝙎𝙤𝙙𝙚 production. Welcome to my YouTube channel, welcome to my studio, the place where I try out guitar gear and also pro audio gear. Today I'm gonna show you this Blackstar amplifier, as I already told you, and why this is a beautiful amplifier. Well, I already tried out the 40 watts version, which was the ST James EL34 version. And there is also the 6L6 version. Then I try out also the plugin version. And as you remember, I fell in love about that plugin because, in my opinion, really sounds the same and has the same character of the original tube amplifier. And now there is this one. This one combines the 6L6 version together with the EL34 version together in the same amplifier. This is the head, but there is also the combo version if you are interested, and basically is the same as the plugin bundle, basically, because in the plugin you have both the 6L6 version and the EL34, so you can switch. You can also switch here the tubes, but you can also use together the 6L6 and the EL34 to get the full power of 100 watts, which is insane. But of course you have more inside this amplifier. It's not only the combination of the EL34 and the 6L6 tube version, because here we have more. You have, for example, this really interesting power knob, which, as you can see, you can go from 100%, so full power, very loud, to 5%. So this is really useful to use it in your bedroom, basically, for your practicing. And the very cool switch here. So if you go up, as you can see, you have the sides tubes, which are EL34, or if you go down, you have here basically the setting of the 6L6. So you are using, I think, the 50 watts of the power if you use only two tubes, so 6L6 or EL34. But if you go in the middle, you have the full power of both the two different tubes. Actually 4 tubes, but are 2 types, okay? There is also a really cool switch which is called tight here in the Overdrive channel, but I'll let you listen in a moment. So how I run this video? Well, at the beginning I explain you all the knobs, front panel and rear panel, because there are a lot to talk about. Then I play a lot to show you the sound here with the cabinet, real cabinet. And then I move to the desk, because there is also the possibility to use the Blackstar ST James 100 directly to your audio interface with the balanced output on the back. And you have, of course, the Architect plugin, which is free, and you can use impulse response from Blackstar, or you can also disengage them and use your own impulse response. But you can also tweak the reverb. You can assign, for example, the reverb to each channel. It's really useful, and it's all MIDI controllable. Also the amplifier, it's all MIDI controllable. So let me talk about now all the features of this amplifier. As you can see, we have 4 channels, and both the clean and crunch channel shares the same equalization. As the Overdrive 1 and Overdrive 2, they share the same equalization. But let me say the equalization is different. Even if you place the same settings, it's not really the same equalization, because the voices are different. From clean to crunch, the voices are totally different, and also between Overdrive 1 and Overdrive 2 will be totally different. So the Overdrive 1 will be more for rock, and the Overdrive 2 is more scooped and basically is more for metal style. On the clean channel, as you can see, we have the volume, which is the preamp volume. Then we have the bright knob. This is really interesting because it's not only a switch engaged or not, but here you can also tweak the amount of brightness that you want. So if you go all the way down, basically there is no any bright, but it's flat, the response. And then if you turn it, you are basically engaged more brightness. Yes. And the clean channel is colored in green. Then if you go To the right, we have the crunch channel. As you can see here, again, we have the volume. We have not the bright switch, but we have, of course, the gain, because in the clean channel, you don't need gain, you need volume, of course. But you can also crank this clean channel if you go all the way up with the volume. So you can really push the preamplifier. Of course, you have the gain here, same shared equalization, bass, mid, and treble, and presence, and the overall reverb. Even if you have only one reverb knob, you can assign the reverb that you want to use in clean channel, in crunch channel, in the overdrive 1, in the overdrive 2. You can change between the plate and hole with the plugin. So basically you have to plug your USB, and you can change also the time and stuff like that, but I'll show you later. Then on the other channel, when you engage the overdrive 1 is orange. This is more for rock style sound. We have the gain, volume, and of course bass, mid, treble, presence, and reverb. The same if you go to overdrive 2, you have the same things, but you have of course this tight switch. This tight switch, it's a tight switch, so we will listen in a moment how it sounds. It's very, very cool. It's almost like you are pushing the preamp with a normal tube screamer, but it's also more because it's treating your bottom response differently. Then, of course, we have the master volume, which is basically your master volume, and the power scanning. Basically, inside is like you are having a torpedo. So you are using a attenuator, inside there is an attenuator, and this is why you can use this amplifier directly with this switch. If you go to silent, there is nothing here, but I can see that I'm recording in the DI. And if I go back, yes, this is very, very useful. Now, talking about the rear connection, you have a lot, basically. You can use the FX loop in a serial or parallel, which is very, very cool. And a really interesting thing is that you have a sort of equalization for your speaker, and it will work also for the DI. So as you can see here on the back, basically you have a cut switch, and that if you place them at 0, you have the normal response. So you have all the high frequency. If you place it to -1, it will cut between 10 Ks, so 10 kilohertz, and 20 kilohertz, gently. Then if you go to -2, you will listen that will be darker. So depending on your speaker that you're using, maybe are too bright. I'm thinking about vintage 30, and maybe you are using the SM57. That will be very, very cool, because normally SM57 are really, really bright. You can adjust the response of the speaker. That's very, very cool. Now let's go again to 0. Behind you have the possibility to use the foot switch, which I'm using right now here. You can use the property foot switch with the XLR. So you have 6 different channels that you can control. So you can engage the clean, crunch, overdrive 1 and overdrive 2, the reverb, and also the solo. In the solo settings, you can also change the boost. Basically, it's a boost on volume, and you can tweak also the dB on the back of the amplifier. Then you can also use the 𝙎𝙬𝙀, as mentioned before. Basically, inside there are 3 different impulse response from Blackstar, and you can use directly, or you can also disengage and use your own. And basically, you can use the Architect plugin, but I'll show you, of course, in a moment. Now, let's play something, okay? So let's start with the clean channel. Let me introduce my routing. I'm using my Gibson Les Paul standard Alnico 5 directly to the amplifier, as you can see here. The amplifier is connected to this cabinet. This is a David Laboga cabinet. I'm using Mamzer 30 speaker, and they are basically mic'd up with 2 different microphones. This is an ST Electronics R1, and it's a ribbon microphone, while this one is a K47 condenser microphone. and then it's mixed inside my Audio Studio Synergy Core audio interface, and then it's going to my PreSonus. I hear this gate that I disengage now because I'm using the clean channel. This is the only downside I found about this amplifier. There is no the gate. Actually, I've not found any gate here inside and not in the architect, so it's not noisy. Let's say that it's not noisy. If you stay here, of course, you will engage some feedback. But if you stay, let's say, 2 meters away from the amplifier, it's not so noisy, so you can live with it. But I prefer to have silence when I'm not playing, okay? So that's why I'm using this Rev G8 noise gate, and I'll also show you in a moment. So right now, clean channel. Let's disengage the reverb. This is the sound of the clean channel. Keep in mind that right now I'm using the full power, 100, and I'm in the middle, so I'm using both the tubes. I like to listen the tubes, the differences in tubes later. The bright is at the middle, so let's listen the bright switch. Knob. Flat. Middle. All the way open. A really cool clean. Let me engage the reverb. This reverb is a plate kind of reverb. Too much. Now let me play a bit with the controls. Bass. Treble. Presence. Okay, let's try to crank up this channel. Let's lower the reverb. Let's lower the power. Middle. So 100. Okay. Middle. 5%. As you can listen, the character is always the same, only the volume is lowered. Let's raise also the master. It sounds really like a cranked clean channel. If you go back, sounds great. Let's now go to the crunch channel. Sounds really great. Okay, sounds really good. Now let's go to the overdrive channel, and as you can listen, we have this noise. It's not really too high, this noise, but I can listen to it. And I prefer to use the noise gate. Silence. As you can listen this noise, I prefer noise gate. Maximum gain. Now let's switch to the overdrive. As you can listen, the response is totally different, even if the equalization is the same. It's more mid-focus, the overdrive one, while the overdrive true 2, you have basically more cut response on the mid frequencies. And let's listen now the tight switch. Tight. Not tight. Wow, I really love how this amplifier sounds. Clean is very clean, really pristine clean, and you can also crank basically this amplifier. So the clean channel you can get crunchy style, but in different voice. Then you have the crunch, which is really beautiful. Then you have two different overdrive, different voice. Overdrive 1 is basically more on the rock side, even if you can also play old metal style, while the overdrive 2 is basically for metal. But you know, you have to keep in mind that you need a gate. In my opinion, you need a gate. It's not so noisy. Let's now listen the differences between the two different tubes, 6L6 and EL34. This is both together, and you have full 100 watts of power. Six L6. EL34. As you can listen, there is also a difference on volume, because the 6L6 version has low power output while the EL34 slightly more, and of course together you have basically both together. So I want to let you listen now with the same volume. So in post editing basically everything, you will listen the same kind of volume. Okay, so let's start with both together. So now let's move to the desk and let's see the Architect plugin very briefly, because I already reviewed in the EL34 version of the combo amplifier, but here you can tweak also reverb, assign things, so it's really cool. So this is the Blackstar Architect plugin. It's of course free, and basically, as you can see, you can manage all the impulse response from Blackstar, so official impulse response from Blackstar. You have the cab 1, cab 2, the room, and the master. Of course, you can change the cabinet as you want. You can also disengage the cabinet using the DI if you want to use externally your own impulse responses. As you can see, you have lots of cabinets here, and in my opinion, they sound pretty good. So cabinet 2, you have of course the microphone that you can choose from, and you can also equalize something here. So you have the equalization per each cabinet. Faders, of course, and then you have a small room if you want to use, medium room, and large room. Is the room basically where is placed the cabinet. And then you have the master section here. Again, some equalization. As you can see here on the right side, we have the patches. You have the 3 impulse responses, so 3 presets of impulse response that are inside the device, so your amplifier. And then you have also here local patches, and here is basically your preset, so your custom patches. Then you have also here the randomize, so basically when you click has been randomized something and you can listen the sound. I'm in the clean setting, randomizing again. Let me show you with the crunch. And if you like something, you can also go here and save your patches. You can decide if you want to load directly to your device or to local patches. Anyway, with the local patches, then you can also go here and load the patch, or you can also place the patch directly to your device. So let me show you the 3 impulse responses that are inside the amplifier stock. So you have number 1, balanced 4x12. And as you can see, has been used the 4x12 modern UK with microphone is a dynamic 421, which is the Sennheiser. While here, the cab 2, you have the 4x12 vintage oversized UK with the microphone is the 57. Then the second is an ambient combo, so maybe it's better to use something like clean. And then you have the tight 4x12, and I think it's better to show with the Overdrive. And I want to also show you my patch, which is this one. Maybe with the Overdrive too. But this is normal. I want to focus on this feature because I think it's really important. When you go to the settings, as you can see, there is this view, and this is for the managing of the reverb. So you can assign the reverb that you want, plate or hall, per each channel. So let me show you engaging the reverb per each channel. So let's start with the clean channel. And here you can listen a plate. You can also decide the amount, minimum, so it's short, or maximum, which is very long. You can also decide the tone, bright or dark. Okay? And if you change, for example, to crunch, maybe you want an whole. Maybe you want darker, shorter. And when I switch again to clean, I have the plate. Whole. Let me show you, for example, here on the Overdrive 1. For example, I want shorter here, but I want, for example, very, very long on the plate too. Maybe if I want to play some solo. So this would be very cool if you want to use the Architect from Blackstar for your monitor speaker when you are playing live. So directly with the silent mode, so there is no any noise in this room, and that's very, very cool. Again, here you can see also the reverb tail if you want to keep the tails when you switch. The foot switch assignment 5 and 6, you can decide if you want the FX loop, for example, instead of the solo, and of course the MIDI channel, because all is controllable via MIDI. That's very, very cool. So guys, this is the Blackstar ST James 100. In my opinion, is an amazing amplifier, super versatile, because inside you have the 6L6 version, the EL34 version. You can use combining 6L6 and EL34. If you want, you can also use full 6L6 or full EL34 if you want, but you have to adjust the bias. More, you have the tight switch, which is very, very cool. You have the bright knob, which is very, very cool. You have also the boost on the crunch channel, and moreover, you have the power scale basically knob. That's very cool if you want to use in different kind of environment, at home, bedroom volume, live club, or giant stage arena. So very, very cool. You have the link in the description if you're interested to know more. As always, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.